All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, especially for those who might be joining us remotely. Of course, good evening to everybody here. Thanks for coming out on such a nice, beautiful day, nice late spring, 70-degree weather, and you came and spent it with us. We love you for it. Thanks a bunch. And for that, yeah. Yeah. Welcome to our second meeting of the month. How many of you here were here on April 1st to see Venkat Subramanian? Right? And anybody who saw him for the first time? All right. And right? Is he the man or what? But yeah, I was away, of course, as you may have known. But I got to catch up with Venkat at DevNexus last week. All right, so let's get moving here. So we got a lot tonight. It's not advancing. Okay, there we go. So our usual agenda, of course, we're going to thank our sponsors, talk a little bit about what's new. I'll introduce Liz Baker to you, and then she'll do her talk, and then I'll come back to do my talk. All right, so first of all, our silver sponsor is Alzul Systems. They're the ones, they have a downstream distribution of OpenJDK with coordinated restore at checkpoint, otherwise known as crack, but not that crack. And then, so they do a lot of good things for the Java community in that area. DevNexus is our partner, and I mentioned DevNexus. We'll talk just a brief minute about that in a bit. And then our per meeting sponsors are JetBrains, who, as you know, provide the licenses for IntelliJ IDEA. And then also Jakarta EE or the Eclipse Foundation, they provide Crowdcast hosting for Java users groups. And we did use them in the past. Our memberships, the Jakarta EE ambassadors. All right, who's familiar with Jakarta EE? Wow, how about Java EE? Okay, all right, so this is Enterprise Edition Java, and the Jakarta is the new name after Oracle donated Java EE to the Eclipse Foundation. So we're also members of the Jakarta EE Working Group, the Microprofile Working Group, and the Virtual Jug. And then who are the Jakarta EE ambassadors? Well, we're an independent grassroots groups of developers committed to moving Jakarta EE forward. That's pretty much it. So we got the Leadership Council. So Ryan Kubrick is the president. I recently stepped in as the VP. We got all these other great folks here who are part of that leadership team. All right, so what's new? So the Milestone 2 version of Jakarta EE 11 is pretty much ready. It's just not on Maven Central yet because there's one spec, the Interceptor spec that you see there, that is wrapping up all of their work that they need to be part of Milestone 2. So I was told probably end of this week. So there'll be more on that in my Java weekly news roundup next Monday. And DevNexus was awesome. All right, Alexander, you were there. Barry was there. I was there. And it was my first time. And what a great conference, great bunch of talks. Great people. I've had some experts in some of the Jakarta EE specs who helped me out through some difficulty in my demos. So it was just a great experience. There is a Jakarta EE survey that's been out for a couple of weeks, and it ends at the end of May. So if you're interested in doing that, please do so. And then the Payara community survey just opened up, I think about a few days ago, and it's only opened up a short period of time. It's only up until the 26th of this month. So, all right, Liz, I don't have a picture of you, so that's why I had to use, the placeholder. So, and Liz is a former student at Drew here, graduated a year ago, essentially, right? Mm-hmm, and yeah. You work for, I have to apologize, I didn't open up the.
Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second here. All right, so Liz is a software engineer at Saucon Technologies, specializing in web development using Java, the Spring Framework, and SmartGWT, which is Google Web Toolkit. Mm-hmm. A graduate of Drew University in 2023, she brings a blend of academic knowledge and practical skills to her role. With almost a year of industry experience under her belt, Liz is passionate about sharing her journey and insights with others navigating similar career paths. So with that, we'll switch over to your presentation. Let's see. And
Is this thing working?
yes, it's all right, I have to stop sharing. Share. Okay, great.
So, hi everyone. As Mike said, I'm Liz. This is my first time attending any sort of Java users group meeting, so I'm very excited to be here. And I'm just going to talk about what my year has been like after I graduated Drew University and started working in the field. So, getting the job. My colleague Rob, who also went here and couldn't be with us today, unfortunately, he reached out to the university and like the career center professors, things like that, in January of last year, basically saying, hey, Saucon Technologies is hiring and we're looking for people. So please send in your resumes. And I said, sure, Rob, I will give you my resume. And this was in like March. So I like sat on the decision for like 2 months and sent in my resume. And then I didn't expect to hear back from these people for like, another like week or so. So I sent the email and I was like, okay, I get to just like digest that for a bit. A couple hours later, I get an email saying, hey, we really liked your resume. Please, we would like to interview you this week. I said, this week? That is crazy. So I had the interview that week over Zoom. I talked to Katie, who is the product manager, and she, after the interview was over, they reached out again saying, hey, so we liked your interview. Do you want to, come in next week? Next week happened to be spring break, and come see the headquarters and come check it out. And I said, yes, please. I would love to. So I came in the next week and, I had the technical interview. I was at headquarters for about like 3 hours or so. And at the end of everything, I had a job offer by the end of the week. So I was hired within like 2 weeks, which is like absolutely insane. And I would consider myself very fortunate to have even found that position. So moral of the story, yes, apply for jobs as much as you can, but connections are so important, because knowing someone within the same company, like honestly, you get a much easier chance of even having your resume seen, rather than just like applying online randomly to like some, you know what I'm saying? Okay. First starting, very nerve-wracking. Okay, I graduated in May and I started in June, so I had like a month of just bliss, just hanging out, doing whatever. The middle of June came around and I'm like, oh, I have to do my like my 9-to-5 office job for the first time ever. I was super nervous the whole time. God bless Rob, honestly. He was like my rock the entire time. I would text him like, oh my God, are they gonna fire me for no reason? I feel like I'm doing bad. And he was like, no, you're fine, I promise. Anyway, so how they got me introduced to everyone, I did like paired programming, with each of the developers, just to like get to know them, see what kind of stuff they specialize in, and also get to know like the code base and the tech stack a little more, just to like know what I'm going to be working with for however many years I'm going to be at this company. So that was cool, getting to meet everyone. And it's about like, we're a sort of a small-ish company. The engineering team is about like 10 people total, and everyone's really cool, so I'm happy about that. My work consisted of bugs mostly. We have a lot of hardware on physical buses where we can like check engine stats. If someone does like a harsh brake, we can send an alert so customers know. But I do a lot of web development, so I work a lot with the portal and a lot of reports that our customers get to see. So that's mainly what I'm doing. These days, let's see, would I be able to pull up the I wanted to pull up the portal that I'm working on
Oh,
real quick. Is that something I can do?
if you know that thing isn't like that.
I know this. Should I stop share and then look it up and
No,
share again?
you can move it.
Oh yeah,
There we go.
nice. Okay, here, check it out, guys. I'm gonna move this out of the way now that I.
There is a way to
Alright.
make that much smaller, but I can never remember how.
Find that thing very.
Yeah, I can only imagine. All right, so it's tiny, but this is our wonderful portal. We have real-time monitoring. Okay, we have an alert log, which is what I explained before. We get all sorts of alerts for whatever happens to be wrong with the bus or if someone's driving too aggressively. For example, we have a map which shows live like bus tracking. If I could find it, real-time monitoring. Oh, it might not even show the whole thing. I'm under the Saucon Technologies location, so it's just going to show a bunch of like random buses here. This map was such a pain when we first like made it because Google has this thing where when it updates Google Maps, a lot of the old stuff becomes like discontinued. So if someone is using like old maps, we have to like mass upgrade everything. And when we do, it comes with a lot of bugs and a lot of issues. So I had to fix this along with another programmer, Adam, who works remotely. And that was cool. Let's see, I'm gonna show you one more thing. So these, essentially, the admins can go in and whenever something doesn't happen, for example, we have a missing CDL. I can't tell you what CDL stands for because I haven't worked in that territory before, but if someone's missing something, like admin gets an alert, like, hey, this person is missing this, go fix that. So a lot of the stuff I'm doing right now is just fixing everything that is going on in the portal now. And a lot of our other developers do a lot of like bus hardware stuff. I will now get out of here. Yes. It's all Java. Yeah. And then it's funny, I think SmartGWT like takes all the Java code. So you code in Java, and then when you compile it, it changes it to JavaScript. So when it translates, it all gets up on the web here like that. Okay, so that's essentially what I'm doing now. Like 10 months in, I would say like 70% of my work is just small bugs, which end up being like one line of code to fix. It's really like, it turns out being really simple. And I thought it was going to be, why can't I move this? I'm going crazy. I just want to present. There we go. Okay, this is still in the way. We're just going to leave
If you
it.
grab it, you can move it.
I'm trying to grab it, but there we go. All right. Okay. Oh, do you want me to like pull it up? Wait, I'm confused. Is this okay?
This is okay.
Okay. So, Drew specifically, a lot of Saucon's engineers are autonomous, which means we work a lot of the time alone unless we need help with something or something's unfamiliar to us. And a lot of the stuff with Drew, a lot of the projects we did were like in a group usually. So it was an interesting transition to go from mainly learning to code with other developers and then go to Saucon where they were like, oh no, you're just gonna be sitting in a cube all day by yourself, just coding away. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But now that I'm 10 months in, I've gotten a lot used to it. I honestly kind of love it. It's just in the beginning, especially, it was intimidating to like have to like go to the senior developers and be like, hey, I don't know how this works. Please help me. But now we all know each other and it's fine. Let's see here. A lot of the projects that a lot of Drew's classes, right, have like big projects at the end. And I used a lot of those projects on my resume. So I was able to like, make something tangible. Then they would ask me about it and I would be able to tell them like my process and everything like that. So that was able to help a lot. A lot of opportunities that Drew also gave me was like the capstone that you do at the end of the course, right? You do the 390 and you do software engineering before that. All of those are like immersive, right? So you work with like outside people to like make something. So that was super, super valuable, especially like on a resume and things like that. And all of the professors sure are great too. I think that is it. So if anyone has any questions, let me know. And also I just like put my email up there because my boss is he's always looking for new people. So if anyone has a resume they want to send, just send it to that email. So if anyone has
If you have a question, then let me know and I'll bring over.
Yes.
Here we go.
Thank you. So my question is not related to, anything technical, but how was figuring out your work-life balance when you first got your job and you started working in June? How did that work?
The wonderful thing about being a developer is work-life balance. For me personally, how I found it, it was honestly not that difficult because you're there from 9 to 5. You're expected to work in between those hours, and then after 5 o'clock, you're just done. It was so different from school because I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss college so much. Like working full time is gonna suck, but like
No homework.
no home. Like, but let me tell you, that has been so nice. And also, Saucon's great too because they let you like have like a hybrid schedule if you want. So if you wanted to work remotely, you can. So I take Tuesdays and Thursdays remote and I come in Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's cool too because Saucon is like 50 minutes from here and 50 minutes from where I live. So, not having to do that commute is also super nice. But with being a dev, as long as the way it works for us is we have a monthly release. So at like in the middle of the month or so, we just compile everything that we've done for the month and we rebuild all the web apps. We like have to restart all our Tomcat servers and we just like do everything at the end of the month. And as long as like you time it right and you pace yourself well and you're like aware of what you have to fix or not, being a dev, wonderful work-life balance. It's awesome.
So do you think about problems while you're away from work?
Not while I'm away from work, but while I'm at work, I've gotten to the point where I get a task and I see a problem. I have a pretty good handle on how long it's going to take me to solve it because I've been working on these tasks for like a while and I sort of know like the code base a lot more. So I see a task, I'm like, oh, this is going to take me like maybe 3 hours to do, or oh, this is going to take me a week to do because this looks complicated or I haven't worked in something before.
Yeah, I got a question. I was curious about what's your advice to those who are struggling in their careers with stuff like this? Because I also am struggling in my career with IT, but also learning about development as well, since I'm trying to find something, but to no avail. So I'm pretty much similar to how you are in your
Yeah,
case.
I would say definitely talk to people, network, try
Come
to
to
find
Java
job
user group
opportunities.
meetings. Come to Java user group meetings.
Yeah, just a lot of networking, meeting people is super important. It's so much better than just like, going to job boards, sending in a resume to like someone you don't even know. Well, that is important too, but it's so much easier to do that through people. Also just practicing. I thought, especially for me, I thought I needed to be like the smartest person in the room all the time when I was like in college. And like now that I'm in the field, it wasn't necessary to like feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, how do I explain this? I thought a lot of the work they were going to give me was going to be like way too complicated and it was going to go over my head and I was going to be confused the whole time. But like they know a lot of the time that you're just starting out, so they're going to give you stuff that you can handle. And I did do college for 4 years and I had like done a little more programming than just one line of code. You know what I mean? And then I hadn't even used Java for like 2 years before I started my job. So I was like, oh no, I have to like relearn Java again. It's going to be a whole mess, but I got the hang of it pretty quick. So
Other questions? Well, I have a couple.
Yes.
Did we prepare you?
yes, absolutely. I came in, what I was more nervous about was like acclimating to just being in a job environment and knowing what my bosses expected of me and knowing like if I was meeting their expectations. But I was told like if there's a problem, they will tell you. And no one ever told me there was a problem. So even though it wasn't easy for a couple months, I just like got used to it and it was fine.
And you took my Java course.
I did.
Yay.
I did.
Okay. And
Mobile app development,
that too.
important. Definitely do that.
Yeah, tell the current student body that they should take mobile app development. The surprises, other things that you didn't expect to be the way they
There's a
were.
dog in the office, so that's cool.
Okay. So we've got
Um,
one of those in our department too.
the things I didn't.
It really is, it sounds like it's really a lot that's the same as what you expected, except no homework?
Yeah,
Really? No big
Pretty-
surprises?
not really surprises. It was just hard to get used to the environment. You know what I mean? There was nothing like I came in and I was shocked to like learn anything. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay,
Sorry to disappoint, but
it's fine, it's fine. Other questions? Oh, wait, Diane has one.
I don't know, Liz, if you mentioned how many developers actually work at the company?
it's
or-
like 10-ish. It's
There's-
not like a whole bunch.
And are they looking to, do you think they're looking to expand?
My boss Patrick says he's quote always looking for new talent. So
Okay.
yeah.
great.
All right, well, thank you very much, Liz.
Of course.
Thank you.
So, well, first of all, thank you.
Absolutely.
I think there were two questions from the non-professors in the room, from the
Okay.
audience. I know my friend over here, and who asked the first question? All right, so we have a couple of things. Reza Rahman had some extra tchotchkes, not really tchotchkes, electronic devices. One's a set of, what are those things, for the earbuds? And another one is a fancy Jakarta EE charger. Which one would you like? No, that's a. Was that the earbuds? Yeah. Okay, cool. So, and you asked the second question, right? Yeah, so there's the charger, I'll give you that in a minute, and so I thought I'd give these out since, if you've been here for a while, Reza Rahman works for Microsoft, and he, when I saw him last week, he had these extra devices and just gave them to me, so. All right. Is it a basic charger? Yeah, you need to have the plug adapter though, but, yeah. All right, good, cool, all right. Liz, thank you very much. One thing, advice that was given to me, I was looking for an IT job later in life. My career was 33 years at ExxonMobil, but we can talk about that over a beer one day. But one of the things that was told to me was get involved in open source. This way, the committers, those folks on that particular project get to know you. You know, so it's something that you can get into, and you don't have to do source code. You can do documentation. You know, if you see something that's not quite right, grammar, whatever, yeah, you know, contribute. So we'll talk about the contributing at the end of my presentation. So
Mike, you want to clip that on yourself so you're not a one-handed,
yeah. All right, so we'll flip things over here. Can't turn this thing, can I?
I think, you don't have to.
There we go. We'll do it that way. All right, let's change things up. Here we go. And share. Okay, so welcome to deploying Jakarta EE applications with Payara Platform and Payara Cloud. You may notice my shirt says Payara. There's a lot of Payara stickers, so I see a theme here. Yeah, so first off, Glassfish. This was the original server that Sun put out back in, I want to say, the late 90s, early 2000s. Anybody familiar with Sun Microsystems? Okay, anybody know who bought them out? I know a lot of young students, this is great history, right? So, yeah.
There you go.
So Sun Microsystems was in fact the creator of Java before Oracle acquired the company.
Yep, very good. And I found a picture of an actual glass fish, and I believe this fish is indigenous to India. To double check that if anybody already knows. And then came Payara. And so yeah, and that's an actual Payara fish too. And it's kind of hard to tell in the picture, but those big fangs are there's a big feature of that. So, all right. So, hi, I'm Mike. Those of you who don't know me, I've been one of the co-directors here of the Garden State Java User Group. And we've been running this for 23 years now, I believe. We were under a different name for a while, and then we rebranded in 2020. That's a whole long history there. I am a Java champion, which is something I'm very proud of, as all of us are. Barry is a Java champion. I'm also been writing for InfoQ since 2016. I'm currently the lead Java Q news editor. I write a weekly news roundup on some of the smaller stories going on in the Java space. I'm also a contract developer advocate and tech writer for Payara. And I mentioned GSJUG. And then I also mentioned earlier the Jakarta EE ambassadors. And I participate in the Jakarta NoSQL and the Jakarta data specifications. And as I mentioned before, I retired from Exxon last year with 33.5 years of service. I know, Barry, you're probably sick and tired of me saying that since you've heard it, but was one of the things I was ready to do. So pretty happy about that. And my wife's retiring at the end of June, so this is cool. All right. So we'll talk a little bit about the history of Payara, talk about the Payara platform and what makes that up, Payara Cloud, Payara starters, and we'll have some demos. All right, quick poll. Who's a Payara expert? All right. Who's deployed an application using Payara server? All right, I can see where this is. All right, who's familiar with Payara but haven't used it yet? All right, and have heard some things about Payara platform. Okay, that's good. Let me see. All right, and so I guess the rest of you out there are, what the heck is Payara? All right, well, this is good. I know a lot of you are the students here and all that, and this is where you get a chance to see all the different technologies that are out there that make up the Java space. All right, so let's talk about the history of, or the growth of Payara. First of all, it was in 2013, it was Glassfish. It was a Java EE7 Enterprise Edition before Jakarta. And then it was Glassfish version 4, open source version. And at some point, Oracle dropped support for Glassfish. And Steve Millage, who's the CEO of Payara, came up with a downstream distribution of Glassfish, and he called it Payara. So that was introduced at Java 1 in 2014. And then they formally formed the company in 2016. And then, as a lot of organizations do, they join a foundation. There's the Eclipse Foundation, the Apache Software Foundation, and now new, only for the last week or so, is the Common House Foundation. And a few organizations have already joined, which is pretty cool. All right, so March of 2018, I think that says, right? Yes. Payara Platform 5. Now, there was a 4 before that, okay? So, but this, this representation didn't mention that. And then in December of 2018, they're based in the UK, and then they opened up an EU office, Portugal, I think. I have to double check that. And then Payara won the Queen's Award for Enterprise International Trade. That's the logo right there. And then in November 2022, the latest platform release is version 6. And also Payara Cloud was introduced. We'll talk all about that. So, all right. So yeah, again, I mentioned the Queen's Award for Enterprise. This happened 3 years ago. So, all right. So what the heck is Payara? A lot of you are asking. So you have 2 things. You have the Payara server and Payara micro, and we're going to talk about all that. Now, interestingly, at DevNexus last week, somebody approached me, and I was wearing this shirt because that was the day I gave my talk. And he said, "Do you have any stickers?" I was like, "No, I don't, but I know somebody who does." And he goes, "My kids love this logo." And, I thought that was interesting because I wouldn't have thought that. I mean, my kids are grown now, but right. So, yeah. And so anyway, I passed that on to the folks at Payara. They were happy to hear that. All right. So Payara server. All right. So there is a community edition, which is free and open source. So if you'd like to contribute to that, yes, you can do so in various ways. And there's also Enterprise, which of course, suggests that, yes, this is a paid subscription service for that, and you get a lot more for that. So it is, a fully fledged, either one of those, application runtime. And as you see there, robust and full featured, and it's a compatible implementation for Jakarta EE10 and Microprofile 6. Anybody know what compatible implementation means? All right, real quick. So Microprofile and Jakarta EE, they define specifications. Vendors will implement that specification so that there's consistency in the runtimes. So whether you create an enterprise application, it should run on Payara, it should run on Tommy, it should run on Wildfly, and all the others that are out there. All right, so that is what they do. Microprofile 7 should be coming out June timeframe, I believe. And then Jakarta EE11 also end of June and July. So. All right, so Payara server, introduced in October 2014, right? You would use this in enterprise applications, highly scalable systems, legacy application support, and it's a comprehensive runtime and application health monitoring. Microprofile was born in 2016 because Oracle was dragging their feet on Java EE8. And it was going on 3 years at that point, at least. So Microprofile is a set of specs that originally came out with what they've known as the Java server, or Java specification requests for context and dependency injection and JSON-P, like JSON processing, those kinds of things. But then the Java community built all the other specs. So health, fault tolerance, and metrics are 3 of those specs that all have to do with monitoring. And as you see here, health. So again, it implements some of those specs for the server.
Mike, a question?
Sure.
Go back 2 slides.
Sure. Oh, 2 slides. Okay.
Yeah. Isn't there there's no conflict between being compatible with Jakarta EE10 and Microprofile 6.0? The specs don't clash in any way?
No, they're you can use one or the other. Now there is like everybody uses Microprofile config, right? I've used it in my apps, right? That kind of thing. There is a Jakarta config that's being developed right now, but that one is different because it doesn't require CDI or context and dependency injection. So yeah, and they all have to pass what's called the TCK, or Technology Compatibility Kit, to make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen. But and then there is, I have it in the slide or the presentation I gave last week. There is a new spec coming out called the Microprofile JWT bridge specification. This is a way for applications to use microprofile JWT authentication and Jakarta security. So there's interoperability, so you can build more robust applications. Does that answer your question? Yeah, okay. So yeah, a lot of good things happening in the Java space right now. Really, it's all right. So, all right, Payara Micro. So basically, Payara Micro is embedded in Payara Server. If you download, that I download the separate it's a jar file. So it's an agile, lightweight middleware platform. And as my friend Lukman said, who's also he's a contractor with Payara, he wrote in a blog post that it's a lighter, nimbler counterpart to Payara Server. Perfect. All right, I love that. Great, succinct. All right, easy to understand, right? And now you'll see examples of all this tonight. So specifically tailored for microservices, right? And then containerized environments. All right, so Payara Micro is bundled as an executable jar file, and you can access that and just run a war file from that. It's really easy. And there is an API you can use to access Payara Server internals. I have not messed with this yet. This is something I'd love to actually work with. All right, so Micro was also introduced in late 2015. And as I mentioned before, microservices, containerized, and then rapid development cycles, because you don't have to fire up a full-blown server with all the bells and whistles. You just want to execute a executable WAR file, WAR. And then cloud, as I mentioned before, came out in November 2022. Let's see if I mentioned that in here. Yes, it's the next generation of fully managed cloud native application runtime. All right, flexible and powerful way to easily run Jakarta EE applications on the cloud without Kubernetes. And there's a free 15-day trial. So yes, this is a paid-for service, but it's the same as Google and AWS and all the others that are out there. All right. I know some of us in this room know who that is, but how about you young folks? Do you know who that guy is? He was in a lot of good movies back, well, way before you guys were born, but yeah. Rodney Dangerfield? I see. Aha, yeah. I'll spare you my impression. So, but look for Easy Money, Back to School, those movies there. Rodney's in those. So any questions here? That's why I have them up there. All right. All right, so Payara Starter. This just came out recently too, within, November of last year. That's right. So it's a source code generator. Now, I think Spring was the one who started it all. All right, so it's spring.initializer without the E at the end, or initial, whatever. And then basically, and you'll see an example of this. This is a way you can hit radio buttons. You can choose, runtime. You can choose a Java version, what have you. And so, of course, Micronaut has one. Coworkers has one. Who else am I missing? There's a few. Oh, Jakarta EE has one. So Payara got into this too. So it's pretty cool. All right. So yeah, here you can choose your preferred JDK version, the profile you'd like, the build tools, and Docker support. So Jakarta EE has 3 profiles. One is the platform with all the specs, or the ones that are part of the platform. There are 42 specs in Jakarta EE, but only 30 of them are in the platform. A lot of other ones are works in progress. There's the web profile for web technologies and the core profile for more microservices type applications. There's the build tools. You can choose Maven or Gradle, and then support for Docker if you'd like to do that for building a container. All right, so live demos here. We're going to get brave here. And let's see, going to have to put on the reading glasses. All right. Now, if I go to the browser. Oh, it does have all that. Good. Okay. All right. So, and I have to apologize for the large resolution. It's just it devolves when I hook up to VGA because I have an HDMI, but I don't have there's no connector here. So, anyway, So start.payara.fish, right? Let's close out some of this other stuff. Oh, I already had it open. Okay, I was way ahead of myself. Forgot. Don't get old, guys. All right, so here, as I mentioned before, right? Let's use Maven, right? Then group ID, artifact ID, this gives you some defaults, but I like to use org.redlick and then the name of the project, but we'll just keep this the way it is. And then some version number, right? You click on next or just keep going down. And all right, so I am using Java 21 on here, so we'll keep that. But if you look at the dropdown, it just has the LTS versions, long-term support. All right, and then we'll do next. And as I mentioned, platform, web, and core. Let's just keep it on platform for now. And then I do have the latest version, the April edition. So you see version 6, the year, of course, and then 4 for April. So we can do it for server or micro, either one. And then you could do a number of things here. So this is a little more advanced stuff. File realm is for security. You can use Keycloak, for example. Then, of course, if you want to do something with a database, or LDAP, which is something to do with, I forget. I think it's a Windows thing, isn't it? So, all right. So once you're done there, you hit generate. You see the cute little fish going across the screen, and it downloaded to my downloads file. Okay. Okay, you see hello world.zip. Okay. And don't worry, I don't have anything stupid on here that I don't want anybody to see. So, all right. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's make a directory.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah,
there's something,
yeah.
we're still seeing the presentation on.
Oh, because I may have to,
Okay, so this is all right, yeah?
yeah, this is already here, but
All right, so what's happening on Zoom?
because I have to stop share and,
No,
I got the right one, didn't
the
have it. All.
live streaming is,
Oh, yeah, okay, that's what that was. Okay. And so if you can't see my terminal window, what I did was I took the zip file that was generated and moved it into a separate directory so that I could open it up in that. So that's what I've done so far. Is it usually at home when I share the screen, it changes, but then like StreamYard, for example, you had to choose.
I'll tell you what,
Okay.
I know what to do. Go back to new share
Okay. Oh, new share. I see.
and
Ah.
pick the whole desktop.
Oh, okay. There we go. All right. Very good. Okay. Are we seeing?
And we're good.
Beautiful. All right. All right. Very good. So yeah. So as I just described, I just have hello world.zip. I have it in the folder I called GSJUG. And then if I, right there it is. So then unzip. Oops. Unzip. Okay. All right. So then, okay, close up, right? So you have a hello world folder, and what we'll do, and then we use IntelliJ IDEA to open that up. And of course, trust this project because I generated it. New window. Okay, so what this does, it even has a README file and all that good stuff, and then it generates everything with that config over, what is it? Something over configuration or whatever. It's the whatever that thing is. So it built this whole structure, It even has a web app thing here, right? You can use.
Convention over configuration?
That's the one. Thank you. And so it has the web app folder with an index HTML file. When this thing, when you package it and run it, you'll see the contents of the index .html file. And here is a resource with the endpoint called hello. All right. And then here you can put in a query parameter. So this is all REST stuff. So the name you can put in there. So question mark name equals whatever, right? And then you append world to it. So, and then there's a controller or configuration here. This is just kind of like a Spring Boot application. It's the same kind of thing here. So, and this basically is like the entry point. It has some resources. I don't see a microprofile config. Usually a microprofile-config.properties file would be in this type of folder for you, where you can specify different properties. You know, it's name Fred equals whatever property. Is there anybody named Fred here? Okay.
Mike, I know, okay, I'll try to fix it on my end.
No, but what do I need to do?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, so that's what you get, right? It's it's pretty cool. It's got a README file, right? So then this way, it says it needs the prereq. So if you pick a Gradle, it'll probably say Gradle here. And then you run the application, and then it has here cargo run, and then the URL you would want to do for that. So, all right, so let's do that. Okay, I'm in the right one here, right? All right, so when this runs with Maven or with Gradle, with Maven you're going to get a target folder. With Gradle you're going to get a build folder, and then this puts all your everything that's been compiled. So MVN clean compile. Let's see. What did it say? Package. Yeah, package. Package cargo run. So this will probably start everything for you. Now you see there, it says something about a war file that it created, right? Hello world snapshot.war. And sometimes this takes a few seconds. Yeah, no, it's ready or not. Now let's give it a shot. Nope, not yet. Not ready yet. Oh, here we go. Sorry for the delay, but all right, how's everybody doing on pizza while we're waiting over here? Oh, wait, here we go. Got some more stuff going here. Cool.
Mike, can
Yeah.
you increase the font size on that?
Sure. It might be running now. Let's see. There we go. All right, so this is the contents of the index.html file. All right, RESTful service, and you can say resources, click on that, and the URL, as with the way it goes with the endpoint, says just world. All right, so the hello world is, well, actually, I'm sorry, resources and hello. And then you could do something like, I have to test this, let's see. There we go. It just says Mike. Okay. Simple, you can probably run this. Let's do this on micro. Let's stop that now. Oh, we got some shutdown in progress. Didn't like that. There we go. Okay. So let's do java-jar, right? I told you Payara micro is a jar file. This jar. And then it's /user local bin Payara micro. see anything. Here we go. Payara Micro, Payara 24.4 .jar, and then target, and then what was it called? There we go. .war. Okay. So a war file is something that's packaged, usually an application. Let's see how good this works. So this needs, I know Java 11, I'm not quite sure if it actually, these newer version worked. Java 17, I think it does, but I just play it safe now and just use Java 21. All right, so you could tell this was successful because it provides the endpoints. If you get an empty set here, you know, where these brackets are and all that, then you know there's probably some kind of error up there, and then you can scroll back up and see all the different, you know, all the different output from the exceptions. All right, so we can do, so let's see. Let's try this on here. And then resources, hello. Okay, start a new one here. Oh, look at that. And then, yep, there it is, world. Okay. So we see that works, right? You can also use the curl command. That's pretty useful and all that. So, all right, so that was that. And then if we start Payara server, so we know that works, right? So let's see, cd win server. Okay. Oh yeah, I have a couple different versions here. Oh yeah. Okay, cd and then bin. All right, so there is the as admin. Okay, that is the executable. There's a Windows version as well. Okay, and then you do start domain, and then that will take a few seconds to start. Okay, there we go. And then it's admin port 4848. So this shouldn't work anymore. Let's see, we got took care of that. And that. See. All right, and you can see it's starting. I like they have this hashtag badass fish. So it's pretty funny. And I think this is the latest version. Yes, 6,000. Okay. So when you see Payara server in action, now you have a lot more bells and whistles, like I mentioned earlier. So now you have all this stuff here to you. And you know, going through here, I mean, this would be like a 2-day course, for example, to go through all this stuff that you can do for your application. Now, this is, you know, real heavy duty type applications. But if you want to just deploy an application, you can do so. Let's see. Where was that? It's hard to see when it's in this. Deployment list deploy. Yeah, deploy an application. There it is. All right. So then you can go and choose it.
You can probably move that talking thing mostly off the screen.
Yeah, no, it's
Well, grab it by the,
oh,
move it off the right edge.
yeah, it's
Grab the
not gonna.
left edge.
Yeah, it's not letting me do that, but that's, you know. Oop. Why am I getting a group chat here? Okay. And then you can browse files. Okay. Oh, choose file here. There we go. All right. So, all right. Where's it? There we go. That's what I was looking for. Loads. And should be here. Yep, there it is. Oh, got the wrong one. Got the wrong SJUG. All right. This is an older laptop, so I'm not quite sure if this is part of the reason why it's acting so slow. Plus we're on Zoom. There we go. There we go. Hello world, target. And we'll grab that and then say okay. Yep, there it is. And then I can't get anywhere. Jeez. There we go. All right, there's all kinds of other stuff you can do here. Control servers. Over here. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah. Process. I'm used to seeing this in obviously a smaller or a higher resolution, I should say. All right, so you can see here we were successful. All right, so there's the name right there. And it tells you all this other information, how long it took, the date, all that good stuff, right? We can click on that. All that. No, wanted to run it. Oh, I don't want to edit. We go back. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm having a hard time seeing this. I'm really sorry. I just, this is, but it's the same idea. You run the URL and all that. So yeah, apologize. Let's take a look at the cloud. So demo. I have a demo version of cloud, so I can actually get a chance to to demo this. Okay. All right. So what you could do here, you see all the different namespaces I've created, right? And a lot of these correspond to, like I did the first one that just does not too much. And I have other ones that are related to Jakarta EE specs. And then when you create one, basically create a new namespace, and you got a project name, and this is GSJUG test, and we'll call it in development mode, and then we create the namespace, right? And then it should be there. There it is. All right. So, and then we'll upload an application. You can browse. All right, good. We have it right here. There we go. And let's deploy it immediately. This one's a little easier to see, and then upload. And then if it's successful, oh, you're trying to. There it goes. Thank you. All right, Barry just got rid of that annoying menu bar that's on there. So you see that I've deployed the application here, the one we just created, right? And then you get all these charts that once you start running this, right? So then we can click on it here. And probably it's not private. Yes, just go away. Come on. I cannot view it. Are you kidding me? All right. The demo cards are not very good to me today. This happened to me before, but at least the applications are run. And then resources / HELL. Oh. Yeah, that didn't work either. All right, let's try that. All right. All right. Well, it's not working. I apologize. Let's use one that's been deployed already. Let's see. That's an older one. Some of these are older. Let's see if this works. Now, these I know I packaged and I put in. There we go. Oh, now it's not found. All right. This is just not being very good. All right. Let us go to, let's do something more fun. All right. Who likes craft beer? What? What? We have college students here and none of you guys like craft beer? What do you guys drink? Man, yeah. What are you doing over here to these kids?
I'm not teaching them.
All right, so
I guess.
I have an actual working
Wait a
app.
minute. Who likes chocolate? Raise your hand. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I tell you. So let's see. Where do we? You know what's going to happen. I'm going to go home. Everything's going to run fine, right? So, all right. So I have here in my Jakarta EE repository on GitHub, which you can go and download, as you feel. I have a beer application. So, yeah. So there are a number of things here, and let's see, what time do we have? We have time, right? All right. You guys okay for some source code? Maybe a little bit? Java source code? Okay. So, all right. So basically, I have a MongoDB database. That reminds me. Let's do that. I didn't think of starting that. Okay. Okay, so I just started the MongoDB server. Make that small. Okay. And then we'll start Compass. So Compass is a GUI for MongoDB. Of course, you can do all this on the command line, but it's much easier to see it visually than it is on the command line. All right, so we'll connect. You see connect. If I can do that. Connect. All right, there's a whole bunch of databases here. I got the beers database. There's so MongoDB, if you're not familiar with the NoSQL database, works on collections instead of tables. Okay, everything's in JSON format, or more accurately, binary JSON or B JSON. So I have a beer collection, which basically just has the name of the beer type, and the brewer ID. So this is my attempt at doing some inner joins in a NoSQL database, which can be done. The syntax for creating that on the command line is pretty hairy. And then the alcohol by volume content. And then the brewers, I have just the name, the city, and state. Okay, real simple. I mean, this could be something really good, right, with all kinds of extra information. But, we're not doing that for demonstration purposes. So I have POJOs, or plain old Java objects, for a beer and a brewer. So the beer, you can see the corresponding. All right. Yeah, remind me to get an HTML next time I do a presentation here. So. All right. You guys are familiar with POJOs, right? Plain old Java objects, right? Okay. Back in the day, to make them real beans, you needed serializable and all these other good stuff. All right. So we have the ID, right? And now we got all these annotations that are part of Jakarta NoSQL. And as you can see here, that's from the Jakarta NoSQL spec, or the implementation thereof. All right, we got some things from Jakarta validation. So, to make sure that there's not null or not blank. So there's some of that going on in there. So you got the ID, and you use the ID annotation. All right. You can see where the not blank annotation is. And then there's the name, and then all the stuff you saw. There is a beer type enumeration. Basically just has the different types of beer, ale, stouts, and so on. And then the brewer ID. Now, if you look at here at this column annotation, it has brewer underscore ID. This corresponds to, in the database, brewer underscore ID. All right, so it does that. But what I'd like to use in the application is the more, Java-specific type of case, where the variable starts with a lowercase and, that kind of, the camel case, as they call that, right? So that's how you can accomplish that. You can wire that together that way. You don't have to. You can do it the same way, but, this is just a way of showing that. And then this is just the usual POJO stuff. And so the repository is important, and that everything for beer is the same as brewer. So if you download this at some point, then you can look at this all yourself. Now, this is the beer resources is a way to define different endpoints. So you want to get a beer by its ID. You can do that, okay? You can hear, like say here, brewer. You can get all those. All right, so this is where you define that. The get corresponds to the HTTP verb, right? And then there's the path, and then you have that. All right. All right, so that's that, right? So let's run this. So let's go. H, and we want Jakarta. Where is this? And oh wait. And 3. This is in the Jakarta data folder. And we're going to start from scratch, clean, compile. We're going to package. All right, so we'll do that. We'll run some tests. Okay, and you see that it ran everything, right? So let's see how well the guards are here. Let's see. I have here. I have a run. Let's see. Okay. Let's start Payara micro. Okay, and this in theory should run. Oh no. What is, oh wait, do I have the server running still? No, I think I shut that down. One thing I've discovered is you can't have both server and micro running at the same time, but I don't think I have. Oh, wait, let's see. Yeah, java-jar, target. Yeah, data 1.0. Target. Make sure we have everything here. Yeah, there it is. There's the WAR file. So what is the problem? Let's see something here. Okay, we're on 21. All right. Let's see something here. Yeah, it should run. Yeah, that's the problem here. That could be the problem I ran into the last time. So. All right. All right. This looks like it's going to be one of those nights again. Of course, this just worked the other day. And I demonstrated this last week at DevNexus. I don't know. Let's try it running the regular command line. Try one more thing. There's something wrong with my script. Nope. Why it doesn't work? I don't know. And this, like I said, this happened before. And if I restart my machine, I'm going to lose everything, right? So, all right. Yeah, this does work.
We believe you, Mike.
Yeah, but I'm not like I said, this happened to me at the webinar, at the beginning of March. The same thing happened here. So
Did you tell jokes to get out of it? How did you
no,
handle it? No,
I
okay.
just embarrassed myself
Yeah.
and just called it a day. So, and this is what I'm going to do here. So, all right, it is a cool app. Maybe at the end when we're done, I'll reboot.
If you'd done a chocolate app instead of a beer app,
Yeah.
it would be working now.
We'll have to work on that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So we did that. So like I said, once we're done, if you want to stick around a few minutes, I'll reboot the machine and then I can prove it to you this actually works. But this is something I need to address because this is the second time this has happened. So I think it's a memory thing or, trying to swap. All right. There's some highlighted resources on the Payara website. You can look for them in the blogs and the other resources. So this is some stuff that may interest you. And then I mentioned contributing to open source. And, there's the big myth that you have to contribute code. That's not true. A lot of the spec leads appreciate, changes in documentation to make it better. All right. And then Tanya Obradovic, she is the Jakarta EE program manager at the Eclipse Foundation. Finally got to meet her for the first time last week, outside of a Zoom window, right? So I've known her for quite some time. So, but she mentioned something back in December at a conference, a one-day virtual conference about SEED, share, embrace, engage, and develop. And I thought that was cool. So I wanted to put that out there, right? So share your own experiences, get involved somehow, and it's really cool because all the GitHub repositories, when a new version comes out, they'll say thanks to the first-time contributors, new contributors, what have you. You can always see where all the contributors are, how many commits they've made. So really, it gets your name out there. All right, and a lot of people to thank. Steve Millage, of course, CEO. I mentioned my friend Lukman, and then of course Patrick Dudit. He was involved in cloud. We had a session together just to work on cloud a little more. Valentina Kovacic, and then Dominika Tazars. So Kacha. So there's a webinar tomorrow featuring Otavio Santana. It's called on the SQL. A workshop for an hour. It's 10 o'clock our time. And then Dominika takes care of all those usually. So if you want some more, just see me afterwards. I can send you the link. And then Luis Neto, he helped me out. It's interesting, you go and there's a lot of resources online, and you follow along step by step. But maybe it's a few years old, like in this case. Well, things have changed in the last 4 years. So I was running into some difficulty, and Luis and I we got together and we got it to work. So he's been a big help. And Jaden Ortlep is the marketing guy over there at Payara. So all these folks are at Payara, and I appreciate their help and their support. And they're hiring. So, but yeah, so if you can go right here to this website, if you want to, look for a position there. And then here's my contact info. Yeah, so it's my Twitter web page. This is about 10 years old. I need to update that. But yeah, and then my GitHub repository, and then look for Jakarta EE11. And like I said, craft beer. So thank you. So any questions? So, and once we, let's do the questions and then.
Thanks. I want to ask a question about comparison with Spring Boot. So Spring Boot, we know the support period is usually 6 months. So they support like with the bug fixes and minor fixes. Recently, they dropped support for Spring 5 with upgrade Spring to Spring Boot 3.0, 0.1, and so on. With Payara, is there any guarantee that if I will create my enterprise application with current version of Payara, which supports Jakarta E10, right? That it will be, ongoing support for at least a couple of years compared to Spring's 6 months.
Yeah. That's a good question.
Because
Well,
6
I
months
don't know
is
off the
really
top of my
fast.
head how long their support is. I'm sure that's somewhere in the, in their website, or I could certainly ask. So in other words, so for Payara 6, right, each month there's a new release, right? And that should go up in front of the camera. But yeah, what is the long-term support on all that? Now, of course, enterprise is a whole nother, is a whole nother thing because it's a subscription, right? But for community, I'm sure like they may have phased out Payara 4 by now. 5, I think, is just getting phased out. I think they stopped monthly updates on that. So now the focus is on 6, both community and enterprise. So, but now for these versions, I'd have to ask. So I'll have to write that down and ask. Now I have your email, so I'll get back to you on that. So that's a good question. Just like, JDK, how long, all the non-LTS releases are good for 6 months. And then the LTS releases are good for a couple of years easy. And I think that's somewhere on the Oracle website. Yeah. Okay, so with that, oh yeah, I have to go back to my slides, to my other slides, not these slides. Can I get out of this? Oh, there we go. This, I'm telling you, I think it's time for a new Mac too. That's the whole. I mean, this thing has been great. It's 11 years old, and this is Liz's talk. Oh wait, no, this is not Liz's talk. This is Liz's picture here with her placeholder. All right, so upcoming events. Yeah, there's a couple of things going on. Devox France, I think, is going. I just didn't get a chance to list them. So more importantly, what's coming up for us? Okay, that's there. So next month, May 8th, we have Billy Carando, developer advocate for Oracle. Is going to talk about the JFR, or the JDK flight recorder. And if you haven't seen it, this is a pretty cool tool. This gives you a chance to see what all the the garbage collection points and where the pause times are in the Java virtual machine. So usually you use the JFR along with the monitoring one, which the name escapes me at the moment. And then in June, on the 11th, we have Mark Nelson talking about making it easy to run Spring Boot microservices in the cloud securely and at scale with Oracle. And then in July, we have our own Neha Sardana, who's one of the leaders here at the Garden State Java user group, and she's going to talk about Scala. Now, Scala, anybody familiar with Scala? So, I mean, you know of it, right? Do you know of Scala? It is a JVM programming language. It is different. So I thought it would be cool to be, to be exposed to that. And then we take a break in August, and in September we have 4 presentations by Marcus Hellberg, who works for Vaden. Vaden's a Finnish word for reindeer, and they do web type components in Java. We had a Vaden talk some time ago. I mean, maybe I think it was Bill, what's the name? Brutzman, yeah. So that's going back a few years. By the way, our website has every single talk we've had since 2001. So, and then a nice gentleman that I met at the IT professional conference, Amol Gote. He gave this talk at that conference a month ago, talking about digital signatures decoded. And this will be spring. I believe this is spring related. And then last week, Gerrit Grunwald, who works for Azul, said he will be in the United States at the last week of October. That's why I have the little X there. He'll be in Seattle on the 29th, so we'll try to work getting him scheduled sometime that week. He was here last September with Ivar Grimstad, if you guys were here for that. And I think that's it at the moment. So we got a lot coming up. I mean, I think this is the longest we've been ahead in all of our 20 some odd years. There's been times we've flew by the seat of our pants. Last minute, what are we going to discuss? What are we going to discuss? And then we come up with something. So, all right, upcoming, friends of the Java, our Java group. Chicago, that's tomorrow night. Nettie in the Real World. And then Kansas City Jug on Thursday, talking about, security with passkeys. And the Philly folks, our friends, right across the river, well, on the 24th. And talking about boutique. And I believe I wrote a news item on that some time ago. Trying to remember. So one of the Java editors at InfoQ lives in Romania, and he's part of the Transylvania Java users group. So so I like to mention their stuff in case you happen to be going to Romania next, sometime this month. But yeah, so no, they got something. They have a roundtable going on, this month. And then May 2nd is the New England Java group, or Boston. They merged, and I think they're under the name Boston. And they're going to have Venkat there. And I think Venkat presented this to us not this past time, but maybe the time before.
No, I think this was the
Was
one
it?
he did. Did he do that here or did he do that in New York? Here, okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And okay, that looks familiar, doesn't it? So,
There we are.
so yeah, a lot going on. I finally got to the sign-in sheets this morning. Barry gave me at DevNexus last week. So if you're on the list and you got the email late this morning, that's the reason why. So I'll be in a better position to catch up tonight. So, but yeah, so thanks for coming out. I apologize for the snafu, but if you want to stick around, I'm more than happy to reboot, and I'm sure it's going to work. So, all right. So to everybody out there,